Chiefs Kingdom, welcome into our Tuesday live show. We're so excited to have you here because once again, Tuesdays are the best day of the week for the Chiefs Report. And we really appreciate you watching. Again, shout out your city, where you're watching from. I know Tony Fuentes in the chat, watching from El Paso. We got Paul Amos from Tonganoxie, Kansas. Neil Mahomes, any relation to Patrick Mahomes, Neil? Leavenworth, Kansas. We got Lewis from Mexico, Missouri. Hector Gonzalez is saying, let's go Chiefs from Phoenix. Let's go, Hector. Let's go. Happy to have everybody here. Kason Polly from Louisville, Kentucky. Duncan Hines from Kansas City, Missouri is tuning in. Man, I certainly do appreciate each and every single one of you for joining us because Tuesdays, man, y'all make it my favorite day of the week. I know it's not the beginning of the week. It's a little close, but, man, I certainly do appreciate y'all. Patrick Millis from Thayer, Missouri. Duke from Peculiar, Missouri. We got Demonic Chime from Omaha, the real O, Omaha. Dan Patch from Nashville in Tennessee. And then we got Casey Wallen, Cape Cod. Mark Wallen. Well, glad to have you, Mark. Really appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Gilbert Shaw from Tulare, California, hanging out with us today. We got a really good show for you with that boy from Topeka, Kansas, also in the chat hanging out. Sam from Hamilton, New Jersey. Speaking of Sam from Hamilton, New Jersey, we have our own Sam here on the Chiefs Report, Mr. Sam Brown.
Sam from Dallas.
Sam from
Dallas, if you will. I'll allow it.
From Plano.
Another day, another dollar. Another Tuesday here on the Chiefs Report. Shout out to everybody tuning in. A little bit of a slow period now in the NFL calendar. That gap between free agency and the draft is always a little slower, but if anything, that's just going to give us more time to study up on some of these guys. I'm excited. We're at almost a month to the day until the NFL draft.
Yeah, right at a month. And we got The Athletic releasing a 7-round mock draft from Nate Taylor. We're going to go through all of that. Plus, we got some rumors to cover for you all right here, plus a mailbag at the end of the show as well. So if you got questions about the draft prospects, got questions about other things, guess what? We got you covered right here today, so make sure you're sticking around.
I'm not going to say it today. I've decided I'm not going to say it. I'm going to be a nice guy today. I'm not going to say it.
We'll see how long that lasts.
I'm going to say Q.
Q. All right.
Not the other one.
Not the way you would say it.
Not the other one.
What's your confidence level in the Chiefs winning Super Bowl 59? I want you to scale this 1 through 10. Let me know down there in the comment section. How we doing? How we feeling about all of this? How we feeling? Get the 1s, get the 10s in there. I see Tony Fuentes saying 12. Chiefs Prod saying that as well. Got Aaron Fisher saying 7.5. I got Pete saying 9. Panda Gaming saying 9.
Some quick free agency news to hit. Former Falcons running back Cordell Patterson reached a agreement on a 2-year deal with Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, Pittsburgh's been busy.
Depth guy, nothing crazy. They already have Najee and Jaylen Warren, so he's their third option.
Jaylen Warren, he went to a really good college, don't you think?
Yeah, he wasn't all that productive there. He was only there for 1 year, wound up going undrafted, pretty under the radar. Short guy, not that big. I think I weigh about as much as he does, but he's had a nice career for himself.
Good college, though.
Considering expectations, he's done well.
But a great college he's coming from, right?
Well, they weren't that good whenever he was there, but since then they've been halfway decent. Good answer.
You realize that was the year they were great.
It's irrelevant to me.
That's all I hear. That's all I hear. You know what I do hear, though? I hear that Game Time is the best app to get your sports tickets, music, theater, any type of event. Game Time has you covered. We got a new code for you to use, Chat Sports. That's what you're going to use to get $20 off. And listen, we all have had those times. I've had it most recently trying to hit up a couple college basketball games where ticketing apps just are really hard. Well, guess what? Game Time is different. They know you shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event. And Game Time, well, it's the fast and easy way to buy tickets to the next sports, music, theater, comedy event, whatever. They got you covered with killer last-minute deals all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Well, that's going to take the guesswork out of buying tickets. We all know baseball season is right around the corner. Opening day and Kauffman Stadium for the Kansas City Royals. Guess what? It's Thursday. So you can go check it out right now and use that code ChatSports to get $20 off your ticket. Go watch Bobby Witt. Go slam some homers. And plus, Kauffman Stadium right next to Arrowhead. You can stop by and get a little Chiefs gear while you're there. Again, Chat Sports is the new code to get the $20 off on your first purchase. All you got to do is go in there and make an account. They've got last-minute ticket deals, flash deals, zone deals, and they're easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, Chat Sports. No spaces for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. That link is the pinned comment and will be in the comment section all on our chat right now. All right, next question here as we get rolling here, getting everybody to fill in, let the time kind of go, and make sure we're getting our complete audience before we start up on our first show. Should the Chiefs trade up in round one? They've kind of stockpiled some picks in 2025. Could we see them trade one away to move up in round one of the NFL draft? Y for yes, in for no. Seeing a lot of Y's. Chiefs Prod, Paul, Panda Gaming, Tony Fuentes. Aaron Fisher says that'd be nice. Duncan Hines, there's an in for no. Lennon saying yes, of course. Joey Ketchum from Yellville, Arkansas. Appreciate you. Paul saying Y for yes. Don Luke Picard saying Y for yes. Dan Patch saying Y. Uriel giving us some positions of note that the Chiefs could look at. That boy saying in for no. Sam, I'll ask you. You think the Chiefs should trade up in round one given they have a bunch of picks stockpiled?
It's a tough one. I almost would consider standing pat at 32 because of the oncoming cap situation for the team over the next few years. I'm always a big fan of young talent, and especially given I think some of the gems that they've found in recent years towards the back end of the draft. Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams. Nick Bolt was technically a round two guy, so maybe not the best example. Shamarty Connor made some plays in some key moments this year. Trey Smith was a 6th round pick because of medicals.
You talk about Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, and Josh Williams, all in the same draft.
Yeah, and that's wild. And you usually don't see that to find 3 potentially starting caliber corners in one draft class. So I have faith in the front office, the scouting department, and Brett Veach leading the way on that front. I would stand pat at 32 because I think when you're looking at wide receiver, they're arguably their not main need, but what everyone thinks they'll go with in round one. There should be multiple options at their disposal.
Correct. I think at this point, it's very clear cut. If the Chiefs want A.D. Mitchell, they may have to trade up. But Ladd McConkey's also a pretty good option and should, in theory, be there at 32. And that's not saying A.D. won't be there at 32. That's just the vibe that we're kind of getting around here. So that's just what we're seeing. But we'll have this question again throughout the show. See some Y's. See a couple no's. That boy, mouse. Also saying in for no, so we'll kind of just have to wait and see what exactly happens. Donald Picard saying we really have to wait and see what is available at the moment and what could still be available at 32. I think that's also a thing. You got to get the vibe of the draft before you kind of make a decision like that. All right, you got a question, got a thought, got something that you have on your mind about the Kansas City Chiefs? Want me to answer it? Want Sam to answer it? Well, you can use hashtag Chiefs, or you can skip the line with a super chat. Because I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to get the first one on the mailbag unless super chat. You could super chat and be the first one. Plus, as per the usual, any super chat is a personalized Chiefs chop. And, we got to do one last week. And if you want to be ever so kind, obviously not a necessity, but we'll certainly appreciate it. Helps keep the lights on and helps us keep on going. Plus, you'll be rewarded by having the first question in the mailbag here later on in the show. Speaking of the mailbag, that's one of our 3 shows we've got on tap for you today. Latest Chiefs rumors talking about the potential signing of an international player, and then of all things, talking about Kadarius Toney, funny enough. And then I mentioned it, The Athletic released a full 7-round mock draft, and I thought it was really interesting, not only their picks, but some of the trades they made in the draft. So we're going to go through that as well. But without further ado, we got about 60-plus people watching. 30 likes. I think we're in a pretty dang good spot. Hit that like button to get us going here, and we can start on the rumors and latest news.
We're almost halfway to 69.
Sam is
nice.
Always looking for that number 69 on the line.
Hey, we're just trying to push the envelope over here. Well,
yeah.
I don't think anyone would blame me in this spot.
I'm not. All right, well, I'll tell you what. Y'all keep hitting that like button. Hopefully we're at 69 by the time we get out of this first segment, but why don't we start on there? Why don't we get started here? First one, we're going to give you the latest Chiefs rumors, a little bit of news on the NFL, a lot of rule changes. We'll have it all for you right here. So without further ado, Sam, let's get this party on the road. Are the Chiefs looking to sign a quote-unquote secret weapon in the international landscape? And Kadarius Toney rumors. Could he be potentially a huge part of the Chiefs' plan in 2024? Well, we'll tell you all that and more right here on today's Chiefs Report. We certainly do appreciate you watching. I'm your host, Jace Anderson. Before we get going, I got to ask, are you a part of the Noti Gang? Because if not, now is your time to join, because guess what? When you're a part of the Noti Gang, you're going to get notified whenever we post a video. So, the Chiefs make a trade. The Chiefs make a signing. We have a video out talking about the latest news and rumors, like this one. You're going to get notified. You're going to be the first to see it, and you're going to be in the know about every single thing going on in Kansas City. So that way, when you're at work, when you're at school, you can flex to all your friends saying, hey, yeah, I know what's going on in Kansas City. I know what's going on with the Chiefs because I watch the Chiefs Report. So I have everything on lock. Join the Noti Gang today and hit that subscribe button as well if you are not doing that. Let's go to the first report about this quote-unquote secret weapon. Ian Rappaport had this one yesterday morning saying, this is a fun one. Welsh rugby star Reese-Zammit, one of the more high-profile international names in the International Player Pathway program, is visiting the Broncos today and the Chiefs tomorrow, which would be today, source said. He spent last week with the Browns and the Jets. Now he is trying out at 3 positions, which is why he has been labeled as a secret weapon. Now these 3 positions do go together in some facets, but still, the fact that he's able to play all 3 is really, really interesting. The first and the main one that I've seen video evidence of is wide receiver. Obviously, rugby, you got to have some hands in those. Well, he certainly showed it in his tryouts with both the Jets and the Browns. Now we'll have to see if he does it with the Chiefs. Also looking at potentially being a running back and a kick returner as well. Now, it's not like this guy just was selected from the rugby landscape and said, yeah, we want to choose you to try and test us out. No. They put this guy through multiple tests, and honestly, they asked who wants to try and go. Well, he was one who said he would like to. He actually attended a pro day at the University of South Florida and ran some 40-yard dash times. His first attempt, 4.5, and his second attempt, 4.43, which honestly are pretty solid times. Now, obviously, you can't make this to be what his speed will be in game, but at the same time, 4.5 and 4.43, that's like on par with a lot of other talent in the NFL. I mean, let's just go for comparison here to the rest of the Chiefs wide receiver squad. Rashee Rice ran a 4.51 last year. Obviously, the speedster Marquise Brown was just an exceptional 4.27. Sky Moore ran a 4.41. Kadarius Toney ran a 4.39. And then Justin Watson ran a 4.42. And I've seen a lot of comparisons that Lamet could be more of a Justin Watson type receiver. I know that there is some talk about potentially bringing him in, obviously. It's something to talk. Now, again, 40-yard dash time is not what we see in terms of speed in game. It's not going to be every single time that he goes out there and is running for a pass, running on the running back. He is not going to be using that 4.43 time. But it is a good indicator of how fast he can actually be, and how well he can read everything else is determined by other, obviously, things they do at the Combine and stuff that you do at Pro Day. Well, we got this from Scott Rogas from Fansided talking about the Chiefs potentially signing Reese-Zammit. The Chiefs could stand to add Reese-Zammit to provide more flexibility on offense. While the team did bring in Brown via free agency, they also released Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Even with Brown and Rashee Rice, the team could stand to add more reliable options over Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. As for running back, the Chiefs allowed Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jerick McKinnon to hit free agency. Now, how likely is this, though? Because obviously he makes some good points. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jerick McKinnon are both free agents, and I've got no notion that the Chiefs are looking to sign them back. Obviously, their wide receiver room with Marquise Brown is great, but are they content with it? Well, there's some underlying factors that make this a little more likely for the Chiefs to potentially sign him. let's first kind of talk about this whole entire NFL International Pathway program. So since the program began, there have been 37 players that have signed, and 18 are on rosters, 5 are on active rosters. Now, the ESPN also talked about the potential of adding in this, and they talked honestly about the new rule in the NFL that makes it to where it's more likely to see one of these players end up at least on a roster in the NFL. They said this season marks the first time that each team will have a 17th roster spot on the practice squad specifically available for an international player. Teams also are permitted to elevate an international practice squad player to an active roster a maximum of 3 times throughout the season. So, knowing all this, knowing there has been success, and there's 5 players that have gotten to active rosters off this International Player Pathway program, would you sign Reese-Zammit? Type S for sign. Type P for pass. What are we thinking about this? Do you want to bring him in? I think it's a cool story, and plus, what's the hurt? You have an extra roster spot up open. May as well go out there. S for sign, P for pass. All right, coming up with the new kickoff rule, which we'll talk about here when we get back. Could Kadarius Toney play an important role in 2024 on this Chiefs squad? People are talking, and there's some rumors going around that Kadarius Toney, he actually could be a valuable asset with this new rule. But first, I got to tell you about one of our amazing sponsors, Game Time, back with us for the past couple days. And we got a new code for you to get $20 off with your first purchase. That code being Chat Sports. Listen, we all have had a frustrating experience with every ticketing app out there. But Game Time, guess what? I have truly never had a bad experience. I've done baseball games. I've done basketball games. And guess what? They truly mean it when you don't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event, because Game Time is literally the easiest app to go with. They have fast and easy ways to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, theater, pretty much any event in your area. Game Time has you covered. As you can see to my right, their app is super user-friendly. You can go through it, and they have killer last-minute deals, zone deals, and flash deals that you can see clearly marked. And on top of which, it takes just a couple clicks to get your all-in tickets. Once again, you can get $20 off your first purchase by using this code right here, Chat Sports, a new code for you. So go check it out. I'm telling you, you're not going to find a better ticketing out there. You can see the view from your seat before you buy as well, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Plus, Game Time has deal on tickets right up to the start of an event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. And if you're like me, you don't like planning, Game Time is the app for you. So here's what you're going to do. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. ChatSports, no spaces. You see it on the bottom of your screen. For $20 off, download Game Time today. Last minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. The link will be in the comments in the description of this video. All right, Tom Pelissero is the one that I think describes this one best, but this morning we got a couple of rule changes introduced, and the kickoff one being a new one. Owners just approved the NFL hybrid kickoff rule per source. After years of tweaks, turned one of the game's most exciting moments into a dead ceremonial play, the league hopes this overhaul will yield what it wants: fewer injuries and more returns. Now, if you've watched the XFL, you know exactly what this is. But to kind of explain it, here's the best picture I've seen. So you're going to have the kicker lined up on the opposite side on the 35, and then you're going to have both people going right in between there. So you can kind of see here, you've got your offensive return man right here. You've got your defensive return team or defending team right there, and you got your 2 returners back on these 2 dots. Now, why is this going to increase returns? Well, first of all, if you kick it past and out the back of the end zone back here, it's going to put the ball at the 30-yard line. If it rolls into the end zone, it puts at the 20. So these return people got to grab it. Plus, it's going to be free because these blockers up front, they cannot move until the ball is grabbed by one of the return man back here. This could really help out Toney because, to me, this kind of makes it more similar to a punt return because you're going to have to catch it. That is what is going to happen. There is not going to be gunners anymore where they're flying at you. You're going to have blockers right in front of you. It's just going to be up to you. Are you going to have one return man back or two return men back? I've seen the more likely one is to be one, but I truly feel like this could honestly work in Kadarius Toney's favor. And that may be why he's still on the roster. I think his biggest strength is return ability. We saw it in Super Bowl 57 where he returned that punt against the Philadelphia Eagles. And we know that his speed has been a really key part of his game. We even saw it in the Eagles game this past year where he had a pretty good return. I know there is still some positive things in him, and we look at his return stats from 2022 in the playoffs, 6 for 112. That's pretty good, to be honest. This could make it where he could have an official spot, not just as a punt returner, but as the kick returner as well. And again, I do feel like Kadarius Toney is just kept because he wouldn't save any money. This format, again, is more like a punt returning style because the return man, no one's going to be around him. He's going to have clear and obvious, I'm going to catch this, and then everybody can move. It's closer to a punt return, and I think it really does exactly what it's supposed to do. It allows for more and more returns to happen because it negates kickers to kick it out of the back of the end zone because that's 30 yards extra. And then it negates the punt returners letting it roll into the end zone because guess what? Then it gets put at the 20. It just doesn't make sense anymore. So going to see a lot more returns, and I think Kadarius Toney could be a really good recipient of it. Which leads me to my next point. Toney will be on the roster in 2024. Now, this has not been technically confirmed, nor has it been denied. They haven't cut him yet. That's the thing. And I truly do not feel like at this point that is going to happen because it would have already happened at this point. I mean, they have $27 million. You're not saving any money by cutting him. Just keep him. Andy Reid has talked about how he likes his intangibles, and when he has the ball in his hands, he is really, really energetic, and it's fun to watch. But we haven't gotten to see that much because, well, he's dropped a lot of them. One more rule change I do want to bring up here real quick in case you missed it. Rappaport had this yesterday. The hip drop tackle is banned. There's lots of rule changes, and this one is one that I am very interested to see what happens because we already don't know what a catch is in the NFL, and now we're not going to know what an official and legal tackle is in the NFL. So get ready for more flags. Get ready for longer games. It's not going to be exactly the most fun thing, but hey, the NFL knows what they're doing, and hey, Roger, I guess I trust you, but I'm ready to be thoroughly impressed, hopefully, by the start of the 2024 season. That's all we got for you today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, Chiefs Kingdom. I certainly do appreciate hanging out with us. Each and every one of you are very important, and I'm glad that you chose to spend some time with me today. But that's all I got for now. Peace out. All right, what are we thinking? Would y'all like to see Kadarius Toney as the return man? What do we think? Coleman won't be anything special. I actually kind of agree for that, Lewis, to be honest. I think Keon Coleman, I'm not going to say he's going to be bust. He's going to be good. But his separation ability in college was just terrible. And if it's terrible in college, then how is it going to work in the NFL? And forgive me, because we should not have even, forget this. I don't care what's going on. Don-Luc Picard with a $20 super chat saying, come on, boys, get it out of your system. Don-Luc. Oh, man. That's deserving of something, man. I mean, we're going to get you a Chiefs chop, but I kind of think that's worthy of a Merbonga. I kind of think that's worth it.
I can go fetch one real quick. But
well, how about you do the chop with me real quick?
I said, in the meantime.
All right. Don-Luc. 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 Let's go.
Yes.
Way to start us off, Don-Luc Picard. That's definitely a Merbong.
He understands the vibes. He knows. He does. He understands the task at hand here.
He does. He does. That's for sure. I'm going to get y'all something, man. I really appreciate you, Don-Luc. Certainly do appreciate it. If you have a question, you'll be the first one. If you just use hashtag Chiefs, we'll make sure to find you. So go in there and use that. I obviously, again, really do appreciate it. But for now, why don't we get this question here while we get the Merbonga set up. Would you like to see Kadarius Toney as the Chiefs' return man? Y for yes, N for no. Toney saying yes. Bill Chase saying yes. We got Joey Ketchum saying P. Paul Diamo saying Y for yes. Lewis Cutber saying Y for yes. Aaron Fisher saying Y for yes. Paul Diamo saying Y for yes. Any of y'all watch The Bachelor? Apparently it ended yesterday. I didn't know it. But apparently the dude effed up, which doesn't surprise me. Paul Amo says Y for yes. Aaron Fisher says Y for yes. Lewis Cutber says Y for yes. Mandar says Y for yes. Any of y'all see the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift pictures at the beach in Jamaica? There's one where his hand placement is funny. And Jeanette White says Y for yes. What are we thinking, guys? Kadarius Toney. Best way to use his twitchiness. He is good with the ball in hands, just struggles catching them. Correct, which is why this is perfect, because literally no one's going to be around him, and it's a literal kickoff. If you can't catch a literal kickoff, I'm sorry. Something's wrong. You need to be cut off. If he's dropping these, get out the door. Get out the door. Lucas says, would you draft a wide receiver in the first or wait to the third, fourth round? I'm going to draft him in the first.
Happy dad.
Happy dad. Are you a happy dad?
I'm generally happy. If I'm a dad, it's news to me. Don't think so.
Is there a chance?
No. I sure hope not. There you go.
All right. Let me get a little turn action. Ready? 3, 2.
Chug, 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 chug. Show him. Show him it's empty.
Time.
Happy dad watermelon.
No, you can't see it.
No, I did not. I did not time you.
Is that pineapple?
No, I gave you watermelon. Interesting. You can't tell the difference, but
really good. Honestly, when you're chugging, it's kind of just like, go down. All right. Well, not my stomach is full. Any questions? Use hashtag Chiefs. Skip the line with a super chat. Sam, how long was that video? We hit 10. I know that.
Oh, I don't think I stopped my stopwatch.
Oh, darn. Oh, well. That's fine.
I'm going to say...
It was around like 12,
wait,
I thought.
we can do quick math.
Quick math. Quick math. All right.
Wait.
Somebody get the timer for Sam.
Wait. That was about... a little over 12, or a little less than 12. There you go. We did get to 10.
Nice.
Thank goodness.
Does Hopkins need separation? No, but Hopkins is a little taller. At least in my mind. Maybe I'm wrong. All right. Well, make sure you're using hashtag Chiefs. Y'all ready to get into this athletic mock?
Right now, I can guarantee Don Luke Picard's going to be questioned. We're just going to show his super chat right off
Correct.
the top.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Lewis Cutbirth, you in. Tony Fuentes, as always, you in. Chiefs Prod 33, you in. Mouse Ooh, you in.
Mouse Ooh.
And, Sexy Andy Andrews, a.k.a. Lennon Ackerman, you in.
Lennon.
I love his. I'm going to show his profile picture whenever we get there. It's a good one. He just keeps stopping himself.
Yeah, he keeps getting amazing ones. All right, let's keep going here with today's show, as we'll talk about the Athletic releasing a fulsome mock draft. Sam, you ready to go? Sweet. Let me just make sure I got all this all ready for myself. All right, let's get going here. The second part, the Athletic mock draft. The Athletic's Nate Taylor released a full 7-round Chiefs mock draft, and well, I'll tell you right now, there's a couple of trades that are intriguing to me. So we're going to go through all of that and tell you what I think about the picks. Maybe I don't like them, maybe I love them, but we're going to react to it all right here on the Chiefs Report together. We certainly do appreciate you watching. I'm your host, Jace, and if I can ask you one thing today, please like the video, because the Raiders Report, one of the bigger channels we have here at Chat Sports, maybe the biggest, right around there with the Cowboys, they've challenged us to a like battle with their latest video, because the latest video, at least in Raiders terms, didn't do crazy numbers. But I think we can beat them. If we can get 600 likes, boom, we can beat the Raiders Report. They got 568 likes on the most recent video, and we have to challenge them here today. Need you to hit that like button if you have not already hit it, because I'm telling you, we got to beat the Raiders Report both on the field and off the field as well. Let's get into the athletic mock draft here. As I mentioned some trades, there were two of them right off the top of the show. And, well, I think these are both intriguing. I don't know how I feel about them, but, well, let's show them. The first one was the Chiefs with the Packers, which was a trade that we had discussed once before on this show. Chiefs are going to get the 25th overall pick in round 1, and in return, they're trading away a 2025 second-round pick and, of course, their first-round pick at number 32. So they move up 7 spots, and they give up a 2025 second-round pick. Now, they weren't done just yet, because to kind of gain back some picks, they traded with the Arizona Cardinals. And with that, moved back 2 picks with the Cardinals, who got up to 25. Chiefs received number 27 in round 1 this year, number 90 in the 3rd round this year, and number 104 in the 4th round this year. Well, the Cardinals got that number 25 first-round pick, and the 3rd-round pick, number 95. So, with all these trades, I know it's a lot to keep track of. Let's look at what the Chiefs have on their draft board right now. Round 1, pick 27 coming from Arizona. Round 2, pick 64, that's their row. Round 3, pick 90 from Arizona. Round 4, pick 104 from Arizona. Their round 4 pick that they have at 119. The Dallas pick that they got at 159. The 173 compensatory pick. And then the round 7 pick 221 they got in the Kadarius Toney trade, moving up about 20 to 30 picks there in round 7. Now, with all this trading up, what did the Athletic do? Did they get a wide receiver? Did they get somebody maybe in the cornerback room? They went with Adonai Mitchell, AD. And, well, I cannot agree with a pick more, because I certainly do believe if he is there at pick whatever you have, 27, 25, 32, he is the option, unless for some crazy reason Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors falls that far, but that's highly unlikely. This is the wide receiver I've always wanted. I've told you this multiple times on the show, and I'm not going to keep patting myself on the back, but y'all asked me 8 months ago, what's a wide receiver you want the Chiefs to draft? Guess what? I told you, A.D. Mitchell. Now here we are. Guess what? We're about a month away from the NFL draft, and who is it that the Chiefs want to pick? A.D. Mitchell. So hit that subscribe button, because we're putting out good takes. That's all I'm saying right here. A.D. in college has been, well, nothing short of amazing, both with Georgia and with UT this past season. 55 receptions, 845 yards, 15.4 in the average, 11 touchdowns this past year was absolutely exceptional. And then his 2 years at Georgia were also great. Career-wise, over 1,400 yards, an average of 15 yards per catch, and 18 touchdowns. Listen, AD was solid not just with Texas, but with Georgia as well, which again is why I like him so much, because he was proven at 2 different top-level college programs. Do you like the trade up for A.D. Mitchell, or is this something that you do not see it being worthwhile? Type Y for yes if you like the trade up. Type in for no if you think this was stupid. We should have just stayed at 32 and get Ladd McConkey or somebody else, Troy Franklin. I don't care. Why in the world did we trade those picks? That seemed dumb. Y for yes if you liked it, in for no if you don't. Let's continue on here with the round 2 pick from Mr. Nate Taylor and the Athletic Christian Haynes, the offensive guard from UConn. Now, funny enough, I think that a tackle is the one that needs to be more focused on. Nate Taylor's reasoning, though, behind this, well, because the Chiefs' guards are getting to the back end of potentially their Chiefs' career. Joe Thuney obviously suffered a pec injury in the playoffs this past year, and he should be healthy and ready to go by the 2024 season, but nothing yet has been confirmed, obviously. And then Trey Smith, the awesome tackle, he's in his final year of his contract, and so the way that the Athletic and Nate described it as more of a preliminary pick, a plan for the future pick in round 2, which when you're going through a three-peat, I don't know that I necessarily love, But I do like what Haynes brings to the field. 80 overall, PFF grade, allowed just 1 sack and only 10 hurries with 4 penalties and 1 hit. This guy was pretty solid at UConn, and I do think that he would be a good pick overall. But at the same time, I'm looking at him and thinking, okay, I don't think a guard is what the Chiefs need right now. The tackle position is where they are more of in need. You have Jawan Taylor, the penalty master, on the right side, and then a rookie right now, Wanya Morris, on the left side. I'd rather take another tackle just to make sure that you're fully depth-wise safe on the left tackle spot. Unless you re-sign Donovan Smith, then I actually really wouldn't mind this pick at all. Let's go to round number 3 with pick 90 in the trade, obviously receiving this one from Arizona. Kalen Bullock, the safety out of the University of Southern California. And Nate had an interesting take on this one, so I wanted to give you the full thing on what he said because I think he said it best. The Chiefs have 4 viable safeties: Justin Reid, Brian Cook, Shamari Connor, and Deion Bush. By trading Sneed, the Chiefs could move Connor to be the primary slot defender, with cornerback Trent McDuffie moving to the perimeter. Adding Bullock here gives the Chiefs a 4th capable safety and a valuable contributor on special teams as a rookie. I gotta be honest, I understand the explanation, but I don't get the pick, because in that entire explanation, he said they have 4 viable safeties, but finishes it with getting a safety would help the depth. You have 4. I don't really know what the point is of that. Now, I would have gone a cornerback. I understand that there's a potential that you could obviously, cornerbacks and safeties are similar positions enough to where you're going to be looking at the fact of potentially seeing these guys in different places, but I just don't get it. But hey, that's just me. You know what I do get though? My prize picks, because man, oh man, I've been hitting them good as of late, and you got to fade with me right here. prizepicks.com/CLNS. You're going to get a $100 deposit match by using code CLNS. And I know football season may be over, but the action on the floor, well, it's just heating up. Whether it's tournament season or the fight for playoff home court, there's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of year. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's /1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. It's super easy to play. You just choose 2 or more players. You can go 2 to 6, pick more or less on their Prize Picks projections, and then you choose flex or power play. Now, told you I'm 6 of my last 8. Go put this one in. I've got the more on Brooke Lopez points and assists. I got the more than 12. Kyrie Irving, 5 assists. I'm going the more here. And then I got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm going more on 29.5 points. He's facing the Pelicans. Listen, their defense is not the greatest, and especially the perimeter defense. So I'm going the more with Shai. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. That's what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Plus, they offer an injury insurance so that if your entry stays in play, even if one of your players gets injured. For basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and then does not return in the second, that player projection won't count against you, and the rest of your entry will stay alive. Once again, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Shout out to Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. Round 4, pick 104. Tommy Eichenberg, the linebacker out of Ohio State University, the Buckeye. And this is more of a depth option at linebacker, but you need it because you lost Willie Gay Jr. to the New Orleans Saints. And Eichenberg, he's a pretty good fit for a secondary option. We know that the Chiefs have done very well at drafting linebackers. You talk about Nick Bolton. You talk about Leo Chenal. Willie Gay was their draft pick. Well, guess what? Eichenberg also kind of fits the mold that really Brett Veach has liked to take. Past 3 years at Ohio State have been nothing short of really, really good. Obviously, the 2022 year was his best year by far, 86.8 in the PFF rank, 2.5 sacks, 120 tackles. He's very fit, and I think he would fit right in with this linebacker room, who, again, I feel like is pretty solid. But again, you're planning for the future at this point. You're making sure that you're going to be good not just this year, but the years coming. Drew Tranquill, Nick Bolton, Leo Chenal, your starting 3, Cam Jones, Cole Christensen, and Jack Cochran, who I will say, the Chiefs really like Cochran. They are your backups. We could see a lot of different places, though, that they could go for a linebacker. Just with the loss of Willie Gay Jr., Christensen probably going to be on the practice squad by the time it comes around roster time. This could be a pretty good pick. With all this being said, I know there's still moves to make. I know there's still draft picks to be made. What's your confidence level in the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl in the next year? Super Bowl 59. I want you to scale it 1 through 10 right now as the team stands. What is your confidence level in Chiefs winning Super Bowl 59 and getting that three-peat and championship number 4? Let me know down in the comment section. Scale it 1 through 10. All right, let's go to the round 4, pick 119 pick for the Chiefs as they get a Kansas State Wildcat. What a surprise. Ben Sinnott. And I'm going to start this off by saying the Chiefs did sign Irv Smith Jr. in free agency, who is a tight end, most recently played for the Cincinnati Bengals. Prior to that, played some pretty solid seasons before tearing his meniscus with the Minnesota Vikings. I felt it was important to bring Nate Taylor back in for this one and kind of show his explanation. We have our first prospect who has been selected in both mock drafts. This was his second mock draft that he did with the Chiefs. Obviously, had him in the second one here. Even with the Chiefs moving up in the 4th round, Sinnott still makes too much sense, especially if the team wants to carry 4 tight ends. Obviously, Blake Bell is gone, so Irv Smith, Noah Gray, and Travis Kelce are your 3. Sinnott, that could be your 4th. So, honestly, don't mind it. And hey, Kansas State pride, I don't mind that at all. We go to round 5, pick 159. It is going to be offensive lineman Drake Nugent from Michigan. And, well, this is where you potentially could have some interesting takes. Now, he can get some training behind Crean Humphrey because although he's an offensive lineman, his main position was center. And you could potentially take over in Kansas City if the Chiefs choose not to pay Creed Humphrey. The likelihood of that, I think, is a little slim. But hey, that's what we're going to say. And on top of all of it, you do have to think that you don't have a backup center right now. God forbid Creed Humphrey gets hurt. Who do you have? Drake here can come in and take over. So I don't mind the pick. I don't love the pick. But again, once you get to round 5, you're at the point where it's like, okay, we're going to start kind of guessing a little bit more on these. Round 5, pick 173, Dylan Johnson, a running back from Washington, a guy that I mentioned in actually my first mock draft here with the Kansas City Chiefs. I like what he brought to the table this year. Not going to lie. Over 1,000 yards, nearing 1,200, 5.1 on the average, 16 touchdowns on 233 carries. Plus, he also played through a little bit of adversity in that national championship run. Playoff, he got hurt against Texas and then chose to play 2 weeks later against the Michigan Wolverines. And I'm going to say he didn't play all too bad considering the way that the Washington Huskies really got beat down that game. It fills a need, and a running back role is the main reason why this pick makes sense. It's a little later than I think I would go for a running back if they choose to not re-sign Jerick McKinnon or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I know for the longest time I've said that a running back later on will be great, but I also expected them to sign a running back. I expected them to re-sign Jerick McKinnon, to re-sign Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And while I think they might still, they haven't done that yet. So given that, I may draft running back a little higher at this current time, but I think by the time we hit draft season, we'll probably figure out what their mindset is coming to all this. All right, the final pick of this mock draft from the Athletic, Marcellus Dial, the cornerback from the University of South Carolina, the other USC, at round 7, pick number 221. You're just throwing someone out there at this point. Round 7 are always kind of just hope you hit. Isaiah Pacheco, that was a hit. I do find it funny, though, because the Athletic and Nate Taylor's reasoning was honestly hilarious. They said, quote, Dial was the best available cornerback who played in college below the Mason-Dixon line. That was their reasoning. Welcome to round 7 of the NFL mock draft season. They have no reasoning. They said you were below an imaginary line that we draw, and you play cornerback. Cool. That works. At least I am not in the wrong for picking a Tulane cornerback, Jarius Monroe, in my mock draft. That's all I'll say. So, we'll just have to see. But let's go through this mock draft one more time. A.D. Mitchell, round 1, pick 27. Christian Haynes at round 2, pick 64. Kalen Bullock at round 3, pick 90. Tommy Eichenberg at round 4, pick 104. We go into round 4 with the third round 4 pick. Ben Sinnott, the tight end from Kansas State, at 119. The center, Drake Nugent, at round 5, pick 159. Dylan Johnson, at round 5, pick 173. And then Marcellus Davis, who, quote, plays below the Mason-Dixon line at round 7, number 221. Grade the Athletics mock draft. Do you like it? Do you think it's stupid? I don't really know. A, B, C, D, or F? Get down in the comment section. How do you feel about all of these picks made by Nate Taylor? I'm saying B-. And while I really kind of wanted to give it a C, I do understand his reasoning for some of the picks that I was a little uncertain about. I think he really backed them up well. And to me, I think that's the more important thing. Posting a mock draft on Twitter, on X, whatever, it's great. But sometimes you just get things that are taken out of context. Whereas when you get to explain them, like you get to watch the Chiefs report, watch everybody, and we explain our picks, I think it adds up a little more and makes it to where if it's a pick that's stupid, we at least can explain and tell you why it would make sense. As always, we do appreciate you hanging out with us here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. And if you're not subscribed already, what are you doing? We're putting out content every single day, sometimes twice a day. Hit that subscribe button, Chiefs Kingdom. Peace out. All right, everybody, grade the Athletics mock draft. How are we feeling? A, B, C, D. Straight C. C+. D from Lewis. A from Paul and Tony. Aquila saying B. No, C- is Don Luke. I gotta be honest, I didn't really like it. I think the reasoning was fine, which is why the B- sits well with me. But man, I don't know. There's just some questionable things in there. How'd you feel about it, Sam? I know that's kind of like the first time you got to see all the explaining and all that stuff.
Excuse me, sorry, a little sick. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of along the same lines. I can understand the reasoning behind some of it. I think you go towards the back end of the draft and you really do wind up, throwing darts at a board. I think there's some decent depth options in this draft towards the back end. Drake Nugent isn't going to replace Creed Humphrey in my mind unless the Chiefs decide they're not paying Creed Humphrey, which would be criminally stupid.
Yeah.
But he also offers, I think, a little flexibility. He can at least potentially play early in his career as a backup guard option or a swing tackle role or something like that. Dylan Johnson I liked as a player. Nice compliment to Pacheco. Not the fastest guy, but he's just as physical. And I liked the picks at the top. Adonai Mitchell, Christian Haynes. I see the reasoning. Don't love Haynes, but again, I see it. Kalen Bullock is actually a player that I thought has been pretty solid. And at round 3, I think is much better value than I've seen, some drafts just because it's not a great safety draft, have them more in the round 2 range.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I do think Haynes is an interesting pick. I think that's the one that really makes me question some just because I don't know why the Chiefs need a guard. I know they don't have backup options relatively, and there is contracts coming up and injuries, but I don't know if I'm focusing on that when you do have an offensive line position that you kind of need help at.
Yeah, I think your guard spots are relatively solidified. There's not a ton of great tackles on day 2 unless one of those guys slip. It's a little more top heavy with Alton, Fashanu, and Fuaga, and Fatanu. There's a lot of Latham.
There's a lot of good ones at the top.
There's a lot of tackle talent at the top. If one of them slips to 32, I almost wonder if that's more so the pick just because the class at wide receiver is so deep that you could find a quality option in the second round.
Brendan Rice.
and reevaluate the spot next year in the draft.
Correct. No, especially for the fact that you did get Marquise Brown at least for this year.
A player in Kansas City that would be very fun that I know Chiefs fans know. If you don't know the name Luther Burden, get to know the name. He is very damn good at football.
Well, unfortunately, we aren't Brett Veach as much as I would like us to be. I feel like we'd make a pretty good team. But at the same time, Brett Veach and his drafts have been pretty solid. All right, a little bit here, a little bit of time before we have our mailbag coming up. I want you to get in the queue, #Chiefs, or you can skip the line like Don Luke Picard. I know he said he didn't have, sorry, Don Luke said, who the hell is the Mel Kiper at The Athletic? Reminds me of Charlie Finley. That was done by Nate Taylor, who was actually a Chiefs reporter, and a pretty dang good one in my mind.
Yeah. It's funny, Louis Cupperth also now saying Mel Kiper is a so-called expert who has been dead wrong many times. I would challenge you to find the draft evaluator who hasn't been wrong many times. You're bound to have hits and misses in that role. What they do as evaluators, and I'm not saying Kuiper's the best at it. I think he's probably lost a step a little bit too, just because it's
he's getting older. He's been doing this for like 20 years.
It's a different era of football altogether. It's a completely different style of play. Teams are looking for different options in their players that they weren't looking for, when he started. But at the same time, you take the film, the numbers. It's a compilation of everything. You're making an evaluation based on the data you have at your disposal. There's no such thing as a sure thing in the NFL. That's just the reality of it.
Besides Patrick Mahomes.
Some players have better. Now, even when the Chiefs drafted him at number 10, we saw what the reaction was back then. Because he was far from a sure thing.
Just a question then. In your mind, you can include this draft. Who is the most sure thing of a player you have ever seen?
Lewis, I will back him up there. What Kuiper said about Mahomes, that's enough there. He was very low on Mahomes compared to some of the other guys in that draft.
He did not like Mahomes.
I remember him disrespecting the fact that they chose Mahomes over Watson. But
and the fact that they traded up for him too.
Again, you think about the nature of the beast. Lewis, when they drafted Patrick Mahomes at number 10 overall, and maybe you won't be completely honest. That's fine.
Did you boo?
I can tell you right here, right now, I thought that was a bad pick at number 10. And look how dead wrong we were looking back on it. That's the stupidest thing I could have said.
It would have been a bad pick at 2.
Would have been a bad pick at 2. And granted, Chiefs fans are allowed to have faith in their guys and everything. I'm not saying that just because they didn't take it or they took him at 10 and people saw it as a reach that automatically you're just supposed to not have any hope in the guy. But you just have there's no way of 100% knowing how a player is going to play in the NFL until he plays in the NFL. That's just a fact. No one's going to convince me of that. And, if you try, you're still wrong.
There you go.
I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Sorry.
I was trying to get you to say Caleb Williams is the most sure thing, but I know you won't say that. So
he's not a sure thing. He's not. That's true. I think his coach ruined him mentally a little bit.
Ask the Oklahoma grad about Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley.
He put 5. his head coach, who he followed, put 5 future accountants and lumberjacks in front of him, and expected him to go back to back on the Heisman.
You're not wrong. I mean, the offensive line was terrible.
Their system sucked towards the end of the year, and that's not Caleb.
No, I mean, in his defense, he did everything he could. The defense and Alex Grinch. That was where the real problem set in.
But then that's where the comparisons lie of he's too often looking for the Superman play. That does happen sometimes.
It does.
Sometimes it's literally out of necessity because he is running for his life out there.
He has to. All right. Well, welcome to our TED Talk.
That's a good point by Lewis. Ryan Leaf was seen by some people as a better prospect than Peyton Manning. I'm sure plenty of people thought he'd be a sure thing back then. Look how that turned out. There's no such thing as a sure thing in the NFL. So, we look back on the Mahomes pick now and thank God that we got him. But there are plenty of fans back then who thought that was a bad pick.
You want a name that I guarantee will be a sure thing?
Hit me.
Ollie Gordon.
He's a good player. He's not a Bijan level, but he could squeeze into the back end of the first round next year. Yeah, that's correct. You heard me.
He's better than Bijan.
That's just false.
It is not false. It is not false.
You took one look at the box score of the stats from last year and decided he's better than Bijan.
I watched every single game and thought, yeah, this kid's amazing. The Texas game, I will say,
maybe a little bit biased.
Ollie stunk. That Big 12 championship game, he opened up his mouth and I heard him. All right, let's end the TED Talk. let's go into our mailbag here. And get some questions in. How about that?
Right now, we could use a few more. So if you want to use #Chiefs, skip the line. We've got the 60-second rule. If you send in a super chat, we're going to start with Don Luke Picard. He's going to be the very first one because he's the MVP of today's show. If you send in a super chat, it's going to get on screen in 60 seconds. You get to skip the line, a little fast pass like it's Six Flags, and you get to go to the front of the queue.
Nice. What a guy. What a guy. Keep getting those questions in #Chiefs as we continue on with the show. Keep using it because guess what? You keep going, we'll keep going. So how about that? All right, mailbag time here on the Chiefs Report. Certainly do appreciate y'all watching. Let's go. It's the best time of the week. It's where we get to talk Chiefs with you. We've got a bunch of questions coming up here on today's Chiefs Report talking about the latest Chiefs news, Chiefs rumors, and everything in between. So, without further ado, we're about to get ready to get into it. But if you want Chiefs news and rumors right at your fingertips like you're watching right now, guess what? All you got to do is hit that subscribe button because you are going to be locked into the best Chiefs news and rumors outlet on all of YouTube. So get down there, hit that subscribe button, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. If you're on a laptop, scroll down, little red subscribe button, click it, it'll turn gray. You're on a phone, you're watching like this, boop, flip it, there's a little red subscribe button. Tap that. I would certainly appreciate it. I also appreciate Don Luke Picard, who on our Tuesday live show, which you have, if you're not joined, we're live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Time. He sent a $20 super chat saying, come on, boys, get it out of your system. Don Luke, you are a legend, man. We certainly do appreciate you. And if you want to be a legend just like Don Luke, come join us on our Tuesday live shows at 3 p.m. Central Time every single Tuesday. Me and Sam hanging out with you, answering Chiefs questions. Let's get into the first one here from Tony Fuentes saying, now that Sneed is gone, what's next for the Chiefs to go and get for a great replacement? Well, Tony, I'm glad you asked that question because we actually have a whole video talking about the replacements for the Cadarius Toney. You see Kool-Aid McKinstry in there. We've got, of course, Xavier Howard, Patrick Peterson. I know he moved to safety, but could he come back to cornerback? We've got a list of 5 different options in there that the Chiefs could go do. And then, of course, you got some draft prospects in one of those 5 options to talk about. So go watch it. One of our most recent videos. Guarantee you're going to find what you're looking for and everything related to Cadarius Toney all in this one right here. So go check it out. Lewis Cutbirth with a question saying, #Chiefs, would you draft left tackle or go defensive edge in the first round? Given the Chiefs got a defensive edge last year in Felix Anudike-Uzomah, I trust him still to be a viable option. And Charles Omenihu will be back at some point in the season. I'm going to go left tackle. I don't know that I trust Wanya Morris more than I would trust FAU and George Karlaftis. That's just my opinion. Now, I have talked about this, and Sam brought up a good point on our live show saying that if there is one of the top tackles, say a Troy Furtado or J.C. Latham, that falls back into that number 32 pick, why not go out? Why not go get a left tackle? Because it's certainly a top-heavy offensive line draft, and if it's there, go out and get it. So I'm certainly going left tackle, but I would say for me in round 1, it's left tackle or wide receiver. I think those are the 2 options for the Kansas City Chiefs, given those are the ones that I truly feel are the most necessity-needed positions at this point. Let's go to Mr. Mahomie 15 saying, #Chiefs, could the Chiefs be interested in trading up in the first round of the draft? We've talked about this a couple times on the show, but I think it's really important to bring it up because given the Chiefs have stockpiled picks in 2025, they could be in a situation to trade up in the first round. But again, I'm going to credit Sam with this. It's all about making sure that you're good for the next couple years. And like Sam said, if you keep those draft picks, you're going to have 2 years worth of picks to help kind of fulfill yourself for the next 4 years when those contracts of Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes get really, really big and you got to pay Kelsey and all that. Well, if you trade them, you're going to have less options. You may have better people on your team, but it's less options. And we know Brett Veach is an outstanding draft mind. I truly do feel like they may just stick where they are at 32 and just take what is given to them. But maybe you're not like Brett Veach. Maybe you think they should trade up, and that would be dumb if they didn't. Why for yes, if you would like the Chiefs to trade up in round 1, in for no, if you think the Chiefs should not trade up in round 1. I want you to get down in the comments section and let me know what you are thinking about this. Why for yes, in for no. Put on your GM hat and be Brett Veach. Let's continue on here with our questions. And Chiefs prod, love the avatar photo, by the way. Marquise Hollywood Brown, love it. #Chiefs, could we draft a running back? Definitely. I think given the fact that Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are both not re-signed at this current moment, I think that is going to be something that is well talked about until the NFL draft. Now, they have not been signed by other teams as well, and so they are still very, very good options to keep in the back pocket to potentially re-sign. But if you don't get one of them back, I'm not trusting Deneric Prince to go out there and get out there. I just don't think that that's a very good running back room with Pacheco, Prince, and P. Ryan. It's just not in my mind. I think you need to go out and get somebody. I would like a Braylon Allen. I mean, Dylan Johnson, I guess, would be a good option in the back half. I know the Chiefs did talk with Bucky Irving, the Oregon running back, so he could potentially be an option. He also had a receiving threat in college. I definitely could see the Chiefs going after somebody in the draft. It's just at what point would be the bigger question in my mind. Is it going to be early in the rounds or later in the rounds? Mouse O saying Chiefs. Do you think that the Chiefs will draft a defensive back instead of a wide receiver? No. Here's my full opinion on this, and I know that some of you have probably heard me say this countless amount of times. Given they traded Sneed away, I feel like they were comfortable with the defensive backfield they had if Sneed was not on the team. Trent McDuffie, a great option to have as your CB1. I think overall you're good with Jalen Watson and Josh Williams splitting time potentially at that CB2 spot. I think they're going to get a defensive back. I don't know where it would be. I think it could potentially be in the later rounds, but I would more expect them to go out and get an Xavier Howard on a one-year deal. Go get somebody like that rather than trading up. But we all know Brett Veach. Well, he's got some surprises up his belt. You know what also has some surprises up their belt? Game time, because guess what? We got a new code for you to get $20 off your first purchase. If you use code CHATSPORTS, there you go. $20 off in Game Time. If you don't know what it is, it's the easiest way to get tickets to your sports, your music, your comedy, your theater events, all in your area. You shouldn't have to worry when buying tickets to your next big event. And Game Time, with their killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Well, guess what? Game Time will take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Listen, I've struggled time and time again having to go through countless amounts of ticketing apps, having to click through and see all this extra stuff and not be able to know how exactly to get last-minute tickets. Game Time, well, guess what? They have that covered to a T. In fact, you can get tickets literally up to the start of the game and sometimes even an hour into the game or event. And with the Royals, their opening day is this Thursday against the Minnesota Twins at Kauffman Stadium. Guess what? You use that code at ChatSports, that's $20 off. You could get almost an entire ticket for that amount. So make sure you go check it out, as guess what? We know him. We love him. Bobby Witt Jr., big contract, playing his first game back at Kauffman since signing it. Go check it out. ChatSports is going to be your little link to get that $20 off. Again, you can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show your total up front, so you know what you're getting. So you know you're getting a great deal before you check out. Plus, you can buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. ChatSports, no spaces, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Oh, boy. Lennon, your profile photo continues to surprise me. Continues to impress me. He says, we should just get CEH, Jarek, and Jettis and draft a corner. So you agree? I would love to get Jay Jettis. That'd be perfect. In all reality, though, I think CH and Jarek would be a very good option to where you don't have to draft a running back. And so that 3rd or 4th round, 5th round pick, whatever you're going to use on a running back, you can use on a defensive back guy, a cornerback, a safety, whatever you want to call him. I think that would be a very good option. But hey, if the Vikings want to trade Justin Jefferson to us, I'm not going to say no. Next question coming in here from Akila saying, Chiefs report by Chat Sports. Are the Chiefs still going to sign a free agent? And if so, who would you like it to be? At this point, I think there are 3 potential options here for the Chiefs left in free agency. Because they do have $27 million left to spend. The thing is, you're either going to get Donovan Smith back at left tackle. You're going to go get Xavier Howard. You potentially could go out and maybe get a Justin Simmons. I doubt that's more likely. Or a Patrick Peterson at the cornerback slot. Or the most likely option, you save up that money for your draft stuff and get about $8 million of that, and then you re-sign both Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire for around $3 million each on whatever deal you want to call it. I think that would probably be the most likely way to spend the money, but I don't know for sure. I don't think they're done just yet. I think they're going to do something, but we'll have to wait and see what that is. Panda Gaming says #Chiefs. Do you like the wide receiver Brendan Rice for the Chiefs system? I would get him in 3rd round, but what do you think? I think he fits in well. Obviously, the son of legendary wide receiver Jerry Rice. Would be really funny to have him on the Chiefs just because of the Chiefs' success over the Niners in these recent Super Bowls. Again, his stats at USC were really, really solid. He had a pretty good year this last year with Caleb Williams, 17.6 in the average. And you know me, if you've watched this show for a while, average is really, really important to me, especially with wide receivers going into the Chiefs system. But another thing that's important to me, touchdowns. This guy has 12 touchdowns last year. I think he fits well in the system. He reminds me of a Rashee Rice type guy. I don't know what the kind of thought process would be with getting him and pairing him with him, but I do kind of agree. If he's a 3rd round guy, take him, and don't blink an eye. Joker1634 says, would you rather the Chiefs win the Super Bowl this year and complete the three-peat, but not win again in 5 years, or win 2 in the next 5, but not get the three-peat this year? It's an interesting question. As much as I would like to have the three-peat, and I know that's something that's never been done, I feel like in theory, if you win 2 of the next 5, that means you're going to win 4 of the last 7. I almost feel like that is more incredible sounding than a three-peat. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you want a three-peat and then are fine not winning for 5 years. Either way, guess what? It's a question. Why don't you answer it down in the comment section? I kind of like that one, so let us know. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button as well, because we've got some amazing content coming out all year long. So if you want to be up to date on the latest Chiefs news, rumors, updates, we have you covered. So hit that subscribe button. We got amazing stuff going on. Tony Fuentes saying, do you think Kadarius Toney will be helpful in 2024? Despite what he's done in the past, he can do better. We all know that when Kadarius Toney has the ball in his hands, he is an actual and legitimate threat. Problem is, this last year, the hands were not really there. They were bricks. He never could catch anything. He dropped so much and single-handedly cost the Chiefs at least 1 game. So I think he will be helpful in 2024. I see him as a really, really talented returner. And if he can figure out his drop problems, he could be a really, really valuable asset. So I'm curious to see how the Chiefs go about that into 2024. Lewis, my guy, saying, would you draft a wide receiver in round 1 or wait till later rounds to get one since the receiver class is so deep? So again, I'll kind of backtrack here and state my original thing that I said going from Sam. If there is a left tackle that is available that is pretty good at the pick 32, like Troy Fatano or Jace Latham falls down, whatever, Talisi Fuga, go down there and get him. Fuaga is honestly a really, really good option, and he has the chance to fall, but if not, I'm going wide receiver. I think that that's the biggest thing that you're needing here into 2024. If there is a good left tackle, don't mind it. Go get it. That's great. But if not, I'm saying wide receiver is probably going to be the best option. Gabe says, what you pick in the NFL draft and why? I would pick Ladd McConkey at pick 32. I think he's the most likely to be available. I don't know if A.D. Mitchell will be there, and so that's just what I was kind of going with. But hey, we'll just have to see. I really do appreciate the question, though. I would say Ladd McConkey is my pick at 32, unless a left tackle falls or AD is there. Really do appreciate all y'all watching Chiefs Kingdom. Again, if you want to get on these questions, then make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We're live every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Time. We'll see you there, and we'll see you next time. Peace out, Chiefs Kingdom. What are we thinking, guys? Trade up? How about them Chief S? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 Chiefs. What's up the sporty mouse? Do you think we can sign Odell Beckham Jr.? At this point, no. Also, did you see what happened with him?
Him and Kim Kardashian?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal news. That's brutal for OBJ.
I want to have kids with you, and he breaks up with her.
That's hey,
that's wild.
That's Hollywood. Maybe he's a Ram again after all. Wants to be in LA, but doesn't want to donate his sperm for Kim Kardashian's frozen eggs.
Yeah, that was.
That's a wild thing. Like she's doing her own scouting, not to sorry, we're going to go a little detail. Not to even sleep with someone, but to
no, she's
basically
like, I've got
use her frozen. She's got frozen eggs in stock.
Yeah.
In surplus, maybe.
How old is she?
Let's find out.
Because, like, I know once you get to, like, 35, it can become pretty tough.
She's 43.
Oh, yeah. So she's
Robert De Niro became a dad again at, like, 85.
Correct.
So
but also, it's a little
not
different with a
impossible.
guy.
Well, the woman is, like, 60-something.
All right. Nah, check that. Never mind. Check that.
So that's that.
Check that. Anyways, I said the Chiefs straight up.
This is why we only talk sports. This is why we only talk ball.
Oh, boy. Oh, man. I got some whys from Tony Fuentes. We already know Sam's opinion on this. Paul saying why for yes. Oh, hey, I got a package.
I'm expecting a package. Probably not going to come in, though.
I got a watch.
That's pretty sweet.
I know, I got a gold watch. Pretty cool.
I'm waiting on a pair of sweats. And the last time I got something delivered, it was not delivered.
Well, I got the order confirmation, and I have confirmation in my apartment complex saying it's here. So, I guess I better go grab that. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, guys. We really do appreciate you watching. A nice little Tuesday stream in the books once again. Shout out to Sam on the ones and twos helping us out and providing some good feedback and some good content as well. So if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button to our 100 viewers. By the way, Sam, congratulations. We got over 69 likes.
I saw that. I was going to mention during the mailbag, we were at 68. And I was like, man, I hope we're still there. It's like, man, I want to just make the push for 69. But shout out to Chiefs Kingdom. I'll take 73 any day of the week.
Yeah, I'll take it every day of the week. We do appreciate y'all. And for Sam, I'm Jace saying peace out. And we will see you on our next live next Tuesday. And as always, have a great Easter weekend. Peace out.